All right, welcome back. Chapter 4, let's get started. The monorail zoomed past a sea of green trees, heading for a stop at the Grand Floridian Hotel. "This is pretty cool of you, Amanda," Finn said. He wore a Tampa Devil Rays baseball cap and a pair of his father's old sunglasses, which looked too big for his face. Some disguise. Amanda wore hip huggers and a shirt that exposed her belly button. "We're taking photographs?" she asked. "They're friends of mine, you see." "Sort of." Then she confessed, "No, not really. I don't know their full names, so I don't know how to find them. If I can get their photographs of their DHIs and show them around to some of the other schools, then maybe someone will recognize them. I'm not sure what else to do." "Word is you're going psycho," Amanda said. "I wasn't about to get you mad at me." "I'm not stabbing girls in showers or anything." That's a relief. Amanda allowed a hint of a smile that Finn knew she would rather not have revealed. It wasn't cool for a girl to show she liked a boy any more than the opposite. Boys and girls seem to spend a lot of time and energy trying to convince one another that they didn't exist. Finn explained, "The problem is, if I'm going to visit the Magic Kingdom, my admission has to be pre-approved. That means telling my parents, and I can't exactly explain this to them." "You haven't exactly explained it to me. Listen, I don't mind using a couple of my family's comp tickets, Finn. If you're worried you owe me, you don't." "Cool." "Is everything cool to you?" she asked. "What's with you and that word?" "You're cool," he said, looking right at her. Where did that come from? She blushed and bit her lower lip to keep from grinning. She looked out at the monorail's car window as if she hadn't seen the Grand Floridian 100 times. "So why'd you agree to help me anyway?" he asked, coaxing her. The doors hissed shut. A recorded voice announced that the next stop was the Magic Kingdom. She glanced out the window too. "Because I have my reasons. I want to help." She spoke to the glass. Then she looked directly at Finn and said, "Besides, I've never met a real psycho before." "Very funny." "I thought so." When she laughed, it reminded him of bells. He made a mental note not to tell Dillard about that. At the entrance to the Magic Kingdom, Amanda handled the complimentary tickets while Finn kept his head down so as not to be recognized. A minute later, they were inside the main gate, passing the spots where the parents picked up and returned the rented baby strollers. Still looking at the pavement, Finn asked her, "Do you see any obvious security types?" "No. They don't all wear uniforms. They're pretty hard to spot." "Finn, you're not exactly one of the 10 most wanted or something. We're going to be fine." "Hey, there's a host over there," Amanda said. "It's not you," she announced. Finn looked over. A crowd had gathered around the DHI. "That's Charlene," he said. "You ready?" "Yes." "Okay then, here goes." Amanda slinked over toward the crowd, then posed for a shot with Charlene as Finn raised his father's digital camera. Charlene looked perfectly real. Absolutely real. Until a kid walked through her. The DHI never stopped talking, never noticed that a kid was playing with her. "You've gone awfully quiet," Amanda said a moment later as she rejoined Finn. "I'd never seen that before, a kid walking through a DHI like that." "They shouldn't be allowed to do that," Amanda said. "It's disrespectful." It wasn't the actual act that bothered Finn. It was the concept. A hologram was nothing but light, a three-dimensional image. How could he become one by falling asleep? What was he thinking? "Do you believe in weird stuff?" Finn asked her. "Depends how weird, I suppose." "Real weird." "Try me." But at that moment, Amanda spotted another DHI and started toward it. Maybeck. Finn's legs didn't move. He felt something odd, like someone was watching him. He spun around. Main Street was crowded with people. Finn searched faces, his focus shifting. He stopped on a white-haired guy, an old guy, wearing a barbershop costume that made him look even older. "Wayne!" He was looking right at Finn, the same way Finn's dad looked at him when Finn had done something wrong. Wayne signaled for Finn to look to his left. There, Finn saw 4 older guys in band uniforms, red jackets with brass buttons. It took him a second to realize they were headed right for him. "Security?" Finn turned to Amanda, who was posing with Maybeck, expecting Finn to shoot a picture. He called out to her, "Trouble!" They discussed this possibility and reviewed various options. They had agreed that if they had to separate for any reason, they would try to meet up again at the exit from the haunted mansion. Amanda took off at a run without a second thought. Finn tucked his father's camera into his pocket and ducked into the Emporium. Made to look like an old-time general store, it sold everything Disney. Clothing, dolls, stuffed animals, CDs, and DVDs. It was packed wall to wall with shoppers. Finn hurried past several displays deeper into the store. He passed shelves of princess costumes, a rack of hats and caps. A poster hung from the ceiling by a string announcing the virtual Magic Kingdom. He stopped and used a mirror to watch the store windows behind him. There, he saw a uniformed band musician enter the store. Coincidence? The band musician glanced to his right. Finn followed that line of sight to another band member. They exchanged a look, and then they turned and scanned the store. Finn felt sick with fear. He'd blown it, entering the park without the proper authorization. His family would probably lose their comp tickets. He supposed his DHI might even be terminated. They were coming for him. Quickly and with great determination, Finn worked not to be seen. He found himself cornered in the hat section. "Hey," said a little boy, looking up at Finn with awe and wonder. "Are you him?" "Go away," Finn told the kid, not wanting to be bothered. "But it's you, right?" the little boy asked. He stepped closer, sucked in a chestful of air, closed his eyes, and marched right into Finn. Finn stumbled back as the boy fell over. "Wow," the boy said, recovering and coming to his feet. "You're real!" The little boy's attempt gave Finn an idea. The Emporium sold clothing. Finn spotted a rack of DHI merchandise, including the outfit that his own host character wore. He snagged a pair of loud purple shorts and a green surfing shirt and pulled them over his own shirt and shorts. He didn't like leaving the double-raised cap behind, but he saw a little choice. He placed his sunglasses into the empty pocket of his own shorts. 2 of the band members saw him and turned. Finn squeezed between them and ran. Several kids spotted him at once. Shouting for autographs, they followed after him. Parents played catch-up, hollering after the kids, "Stop!" and "Get back here!" Finn led the children out onto the sidewalk and into Main Street. An alarm sounded loudly as Finn left the store in clothing that hadn't been paid for. Anxious parents clogged the door, blocking the security guys. "Hey!" one of the kids shouted above all the others. "Check it out! 2 of them!" Finn glanced over, only to realize he was standing 20 feet from his own DHI. His host self was surrounded by a pair of families and was answering questions. The 2 band musicians stumbled out onto the street. They looked back and forth from one Finn to the other. Which was which? The real Finn pointed to the castle. He recited the memorized tour information recorded during the filming at Disney MGM Studios. The DHI Finn, the hologram, not far away, mimicked the same moves and recited the same words from the same script. Unable to determine which Finn to pursue, the band members froze. The real Finn then moved his small group of followers up the street at the exact same pace as his DHI. The 2 were perfect duplicates of each other. Then, with enough distance between himself and his pursuers, Finn slipped down a side path. He quickly shed the DHI Finn t-shirt and dumped it into the trash. He hopped out of the ugly shorts, slipped his sunglasses back on, and made off at a run, headed for the Haunted Mansion. 10 minutes later, Finn spotted Amanda waiting on a bench near the Haunted Mansion's exit, as planned. A neat apron of lawn surrounded the towering brick Victorian-style structure. The paved area in front of the entrance was divided with chains and stations into 3 lanes, including one for the holders of the Fast Pass. Parked against the mansion's front wall, equidistant between the entrance and exit, stood a gleaming, all-black, horse-drawn hearse. Even the windows were black. The harness hung in midair. The horse was invisible. Finn waited briefly before approaching Amanda, taking time to determine if either of them had been followed. "Hey, there you are," Amanda said. "I was spotted. I got away, but just barely." "Will they bust you?" "Not sure they can without catching me first, without proving it's me." She glanced around. "So now what? How do we get you out of the park without your being caught?" Finn hadn't thought through this possibility when forming their original plan. "I suppose they might watch the exit." "You think? Get a life! Of course they will!" "There's a guy, an old guy. I think he might help if I can find him." Finn spotted a pair of clean-cut young men approaching the Fast Pass entrance, not 30 feet away, just on the other side of the hearse. He and Amanda moved a few feet to be screened from view. Finn said, "Okay, look over my shoulder. See those 2 tall guys in line? They've got wires in their ears, and I'll bet they're looking for me. And guess what? We're trapped." Amanda studied the 2. With Finn's back to them at this distance, he was safe. She looked at the Haunted Mansion, then at the way the exit line converged toward the entrance line, the 2 separated by only a chain. "We can't leave through the exit line, not with them there." "I know. But they're pretty far back in the entrance line," she observed. Finn's skin crawled. How to explain any of this to his parents? "So, we're trapped. I already had that much figured out." "But they're just standing there, waiting." "So?" Finn asked. "So we've got to get them to move," she answered. "And how are we supposed to do that?" he asked sarcastically. "Call them on their radios and tell them they're wanted somewhere else?" Amanda's brow knit tightly, deep in thought. "They'll move if they see you." "What? Are you crazy?" "Shush," she cautioned him. "Come on," she said, taking him by the hand. He wasn't sure why, but he let her take charge. There was something about her confidence that reassured him. It felt almost as if she'd been through this kind of thing before. The way she stayed so calm, the way she studied the situation carefully. She led Finn quickly under a chain, behind the hearse, then between it and a low brick retaining wall. She peered around the hearse, monitoring the 2 security guards. "When I say go, we go," she instructed. Ah, Finn said, having second thoughts. Amanda watched. The line was moving along, but the two security guys remained near the mansion's entrance. Go, she hissed. Together they hurried into the open, ducked under a chain, and cut into the entrance line. A bunch of people moaned and groaned. A few openly complained, but as the line surged, Amanda and Finn moved with it. Amanda was no giant, but she was an inch taller than Finn. She rose onto her tiptoes, looked back, and warned, "Okay, here they come." She tightened her hold on Finn's hand. Together they moved with the line, which surged again. A few seconds later, they were inside the mansion. Amanda kept watch behind them. Finn and Amanda stepped into the stretching room, a hexagonal space 20 feet across. Portraits hung on the walls. Finn had just begun to feel safe when, as Amanda tensed, he looked back and saw the two security guards enter, the last two people in the stretching room, before its doors closed. Amanda rose up. "Uh-oh," she said. "What?" "They're pushing their way over here." The stretching room, jam-packed with people, did not make movement easy. A loud voice boomed over the speakers, welcoming the visitors to the mansion. It warned them not to lean against the walls. The lights dimmed. Finn didn't need to stand on his tiptoes to see the two blonde heads coming toward them. Amanda pulled Finn down into a crouch. Together they ducked and moved through the crowd. It seemed that the floor was beginning to sink. It looked and felt as if they were going down, down, down in an elevator. The walls stretched. The ceiling receded above them. Even the oil painting stretched longer. "We're cooked," Finn said. "No," Amanda said, still leading him. "We're okay." They reached a far wall. Finn glanced back. The two guys were still pushing through the crowd toward them. "You're dreaming." "We'll use the chicken door," she said. "The what?" "When I was something like 5 years old, I completely freaked out in here. Screamed my lungs out. Totally lost it." As she said this, the room's floor stopped moving. The painted portraits now stretched grotesquely. A dead man dangled from a noose attached to the ceiling. Some kids shrieked. Amanda continued, "My mom got me out without having to ride the doom buggies. It's called the chicken door." "Here they come," Finn cautioned in a whisper, but just as he said it, the crowd surged, pressing Finn against Amanda. "Perfect timing," she said, smiling. The two security guards got stuck in the jam, still a few yards away. One of the wall panels opened like a door. The crowd, fat people, sweaty people, smelly people, bald people, and two teenage kids, lunged ahead. The moment the door opened, Amanda took Finn by the hand and tugged. They hurried out into the dimly lit corridor leading to the doom buggies. "Run!" Amanda whispered. "We have to hurry!" She led him through an unmarked door immediately to the right. Finn found himself in a narrow, dimly lit corridor. Ghoulish sounds in the distance. Amanda ran, with Finn closely behind her. She proved herself a very fast runner. "It's almost as if she's flying," he thought. Seconds later, they headed through yet another door. Outside again, they were only a few yards from where they'd been sitting only minutes earlier, the black hearse and the fast-pass line to their right. The entrance exit was straight ahead. The air came alive with the sound of piped-in music and the steady rumble of park guests talking. Amanda glanced back at the mansion. Her eyes went wide, and he knew they were in trouble. She practically pulled his arm off as she drew him into a small gift shop. They ducked behind a carousel of postcards. The two security guys hurried past, only seconds behind them. Finn stood beside Amanda, their arms touching. "They've gone," she said. "We've lost them." Finn held up his father's camera. "Let's try to get a few more shots on our way out." I hope you enjoyed this chapter. I'll see you for next chapter.